I just finished a pretty cool book, and I wanted to tell you about it. Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon by Mizuki Tsujimura is a book that my wife bought me a little while ago while she was on a work trip. She just saw it in the airport and thought it looked cool. And what I thought was funny is it says, like, right on the cover, recalls early Haruki Murakami, which, if you've followed my channel for like any length of time, you've probably picked up on the fact that I really like Haruki Murakami. However, she didn't even see that on the cover. She just thought it looked cool, and I'm pretty sure she saw it was like by a Japanese author and was like, yeah, he'd probably like that. And yeah, turns out she was right. I really liked this book. The basic concept for this book is that there's a guy who is referred to only as the go-between, who essentially sets up these meetings between the living and the dead. There are rules to these interactions that this guy sets up. First and foremost being that each living person and each dead person only gets one meeting. So if you're alive and you're trying to meet with someone who has passed, you only get to do it once. And the person on the other side also only gets one chance to meet with a living person. So people really have to choose carefully if they're deciding to do this. The go-between will meet up with the client, you might want to say, always in the lobby of a hospital, which you will learn more about that as the book goes on. They have sort of like a pre-meeting meeting to go over the rules, to talk about how this whole thing works. And then the person will come back on a later date, usually under a full moon, because the presence of a full moon guarantees like the longest amount of time that the person is going to be able to spend with the deceased. They have their meeting in a hotel room that the go-between has set up for them, and they get to discuss whatever's on their mind with this person that they're trying to meet up with, who is from the land of the dead. Even though this is a novel, it is sort of structured like a series of short stories, where each individual chapter is a new client that comes to the go-between. And even though the go-between is the main character of this book, the perspective shifts into the eyes of the clients in each subsequent chapter. Some of the clients include a young woman who had a chance encounter with this like celebrity on the subway. And even though they weren't close, this interaction that this woman had with this celebrity was so profound to her that she felt like she needed to meet her in the afterlife to say thank you for that interaction. There is a young woman who's in high school who had a falling out with her best friend who is now deceased and wants to sort of make things right with her. There's a hard-edged, jaded salaryman who is trying to meet up with his mother one last time and has a pretty shit attitude about the whole thing and is kind of throwing barbs not only to the go-between, but like everyone else in his life. So each one of these chapters is like this little microcosm event of a meeting between the living and the dead. And again, it is a novel, like there is a through line through the whole thing, and by the time you get to the end of the book, you'll sort of understand why I would call this a novel as opposed to a series of short stories. But it does function like a short story collection, and it makes it super readable. Like, I don't think any one chapter is longer than like 50 pages, and so it's a good book to like pick up at the end of the day, read a chapter, go to sleep, read the next one the next day, and you'll fly through it. Like, it's only 250 pages-ish. So yeah, it's like a super short, sweet read if you're looking for something like that. I had never heard of Mizuki Tsujimura before, but after reading this, I'm really interested in picking up some of her other stuff, including there's a whole sequel to this book that I had no idea about. I know I'll put it right here or over here. I'll put it somewhere, but the cover art does not match up with this one, which I think is annoying. Just because I feel like if it's a true sequel, it should sort of like at least have a similar looking cover art. But anyway, I digress. There is a sequel to this book, and I'm really eager to pick it up because I really liked this, not only because of the concept of the book, but because of her writing too. Like I said earlier, it does say right on the cover, recalls early Haruki Murakami, and I think that is a pretty apt comparison here. This book has a supernatural bent to it, which some of Haruki Murakami's books totally do. There is like a sense of ennui to the book, which is also present in Murakami's storytelling. But I think Tsujimura's writing is a little bit more gentle, and it lacks the sort of like sexual awkwardness that a lot of Murakami's writing has. Like, I think the core basis of all the stories inside here are a love that someone has towards another person. And it's presented in a way that I don't think I've ever really seen in a Haruki Murakami book before. There are certainly romantic aspects to Murakami's writing, but this has like a wistfulness and a sort of light touch that his work doesn't have, and I really appreciated that. Not to say that I dislike Murakami, I love the guy, but I do think if you're gonna go into this expecting something like really esoteric and like angular, I don't know if that makes any sense. That's not what you're gonna get here. You're gonna get this sort of supernatural elements, you're gonna get the otherworldly tone, but it also kind of feels like a warm hug or like a cup of tea at the end of the day. There's something really comforting about this book. Not the entire book. There's like, there's moments in this book that are stressful. Not in like a thriller type of way, but just in that, like, if you're a person who's gonna meet up with someone who is deceased, yeah, you're trying to seek closure, and I don't know, it doesn't always happen. Like, if you or I were able to meet up with someone who had passed away and you only had a night to hash everything out, I don't think you're gonna come to all of the conclusions that you possibly could. And that's represented here. I really like that not every single vignette in this book wraps up super neatly. Like, there are definitely some unresolved threads and some loose ends, and I really like that nuance to it. You've heard me talk about this author before, but Banana Yoshimoto is another sort of apt comparison for this book, especially with like the gentleness that comes with this book. I feel like Banana Yoshimoto's writing has that in spades. So yeah, if you're looking for something new to try out and you're a fan of Murakami, you're a fan of Banana Yoshimoto, Lost Souls Meet Under a Full Moon is like a perfect choice for you. And thank you to my wife for buying this for me. This was a wonderful surprise. I also read this book as part of my book club that I run on my Discord server, which I'm sure if you're watching this video, some of you are probably already a part of it. But if you want to join, we do a new book maybe every 2 months or so. It's not like a big pressure thing. Like, this is a short book, but I gave us like 2 months to read it, especially because it's like the holiday season. I know everyone's busy. We're meeting up to discuss it soon, and yeah, I'm really interested to see what everyone has to say about it because I really liked it. So anyway, that's all from me for today. If you're new to my channel and want to learn more about all sorts of different books, then please subscribe. I talk about a lot of like Japanese fiction, but I also read fantasy and science fiction and a bunch of other stuff. I'm definitely a mood reader who kind of just, I don't know, I follow my heart. I'll get bored with one book and I'll pick up another, and, you know, I never really follow through with my intentions or my TBR. I don't really even make TBR videos for the most part because I never follow them. Like, I made a video a little while ago that was like, oh, here's the 5 videos that I want to finish before the end of the year, and I'm gonna finish one of them probably, which was this one. So we'll see. Another thing to point out for my followers who have been around for a while, if you'd like to support the channel, you can subscribe to me on Patreon, on Substack, or you can buy some of my merch on Etsy. Everything is in the link below this video. I work full-time and this is like a side hobby of mine, so I don't necessarily have the most like rewards for you as a Patreon member, but if you feel like tossing me some change because you enjoy my content, I will gladly take it. And yeah, join the Discord if you want to kind of chop it up and hang out. I'm happy to talk to you. Anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this book if you decide to pick it up. And if you do, please leave some comments in the discussion below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks, and see you later.